You are sitting on a stone bed in a prison cell in Athens. Your friends surround you. Some are crying, one can barely look at you. A man walks in holding a cup. Inside it is crushed hemlock mixed with wine. You take the cup. Your hand does not shake. You ask the man one question. How do I do this? He says. You drink it. Then you walk around until your legs feel heavy. Then you lie down. You drink the entire cup in one gulp. Your friends break down. Tears, sobbing, grown men falling apart. You tell them to stop. You sent the women away earlier to avoid exactly this. You want silence. You want dignity. You are 70 years old. You are the most famous philosopher alive. And in a few minutes, you will be dead. But let's go back, way back. You are born around 470 BC in Alopis, a small neighborhood just outside the walls of Athens. Your father is Socrates, a stonemason. Your mother is Phanerate, a midwife. You are not rich, you are not poor, you are ordinary. As a boy, you learn reading, writing, poetry, music, gymnastics, the standard education for any Athenian citizen's son. At 13, your father puts a chisel in your hand. You are apprenticed as a stonemason, just like him. But something is different about you. At 15, you get your hands on a book by the philosopher Anaxagoras. He claims the sun is not a god. It is a hot rock, bigger than the Peloponnese. Your mind catches fire. You start asking questions, not normal questions. Questions that make adults uncomfortable. What is justice? What is courage? What do you actually know versus what do you only think you know? Nobody in your neighborhood talks like this. At 16, you travel to the island of Samos with a mentor named Archelaus to study philosophy. At 18, you meet Parmenides, one of the most famous thinkers in the Greek world. You are learning to think in ways that most Athenians never will. But thinking does not pay the bills. And right now, Athens needs soldiers, not philosophers. You are 37 years old. The Peloponnesian War has erupted. Athens against Sparta, the two greatest powers in Greece, tearing each other apart. Every able-bodied male citizen between 18 and 60 is required to serve. You are no exception. You become a hoplite, a heavy infantryman, bronze shield, long spear, greaves, breastplate, helmet. The equipment weighs around 66 pounds. Your first deployment is the siege of Potidea in northern Greece, a city trying to break away from Athens. The siege drags on for nearly 3 years. Supply lines are cut. The plague devastating Athens spreads into your camp. Men die from disease, starvation, and cold. But you are strange, even here. During a severe frost, every soldier wraps himself in extra cloaks and furs. You march barefoot across the ice. Same thin cloak you always wear. Your fellow soldiers think you are mocking them. You are not. You simply do not care about physical comfort. During battle, a young officer named Alcibiades is wounded and falls from his horse. He is about to be killed. You stand over his body and fight off the enemy alone until he can be carried to safety. You are nominated for the Prize of Valor, the highest honor a soldier can receive. You refuse it. You insist it should go to Alcibiades instead. Remember the name Alcibiades. He will come back to haunt you. 5 years later, the Battle of Delium, 424 BC, the first full-scale hoplite battle of the entire war, and the bloodiest. The Athenians are routed. Total chaos. Soldiers running in every direction. In the confusion, Athenians begin killing each other by mistake. But not you. You retreat slowly, calmly, eyes scanning in every direction. Your expression so controlled that enemy soldiers decide not to attack you. Alcibiades, watching from horseback, later says the enemy kept their distance. You looked like a man who would make them pay. You also protect a wounded general named Laches during the retreat. Laches will later say that if every Athenian had fought like you, the Boeotians would have had nothing to celebrate. You fight again at Amphipolis in 422 BC, another defeat. You are now 48, ancient for a man carrying 66 pounds of armor. The war grinds on, but you are done with battlefields. You have a different war to fight now. Here is where your real story begins. Your friend Chaerephon goes to the oracle at Delphi, the most sacred site in Greece. He asks the priestess of Apollo one question. Is anyone wiser than Socrates? The oracle answers, no, there is no one wiser. When you hear this, you do not feel proud. You feel confused, because you know one thing for certain, you know nothing. So you set out to prove the oracle wrong. You begin approaching every man in Athens with a reputation for wisdom, politicians, poets, craftsmen, generals. You ask them simple questions. What is justice? What is beauty? What is the good life? And one by one, they crumble. The politicians claim to know about justice but cannot define it. The poets write about love and courage but cannot explain what those words mean. The craftsmen are skilled with their hands but assume that expertise in one area makes them wise about everything. You realize the oracle was right. You are the wisest. Not because you know more than everyone, but because you are the only person in Athens willing to admit that you know nothing. This is the moment that will define your life, and eventually end it. You become a fixture in the agora, the public marketplace of Athens. Barefoot, unwashed, long hair, a single worn cloak in every season. You look like a beggar. You are physically ugly. A flat nose, bulging eyes, a stocky build. By every Athenian standard of beauty, you are a disaster. And you do not care, not even slightly. Every day you stop people on the street and ask them questions, not to teach them, to show them they do not know what they think they know. Your method is devastatingly simple. You ask a question, they answer. You ask another question based on their answer. You keep going until their own logic contradicts itself. They are left standing in the marketplace, looking foolish in front of a crowd. The young men of Athens love this. They follow you around, watching you humiliate the most powerful men in the city. The powerful men do not love this. You refuse payment, you live in poverty. Your wife, Xanthippe, is famously frustrated with you. You have 3 sons, and no income to speak of. But you are not interested in money. You are interested in one question: how should a person live? At festivals, you can outdrink every man at the table. No one has ever seen you drunk. At dinner parties, you drift into trances, standing perfectly still for hours, lost in thought, while the party continues around you. You are becoming the most talked about man in Athens, and the most hated. In 423 BC, the playwright Aristophanes writes a comedy called The Clouds. The main character is a version of you, a charlatan, an atheist. Thousands of Athenians watch it and laugh. You are in the audience. When the crowd looks around to see your reaction, you stand up so everyone can see your face. You smile. But the damage is done. In the public imagination, you are now the dangerous man who turns sons against their fathers. And then the war ends. Athens loses. In 404 BC, Sparta defeats Athens after 27 years of war. The Golden Age is over. Sparta installs a puppet government, 30 Athenian men, hand-picked to rule the city. They are called the 30 Tyrants. Their leader is a man named Critias. Critias is your former student. So is Alcibiades, the man whose life you saved at Potidaea. He betrayed Athens years ago, defected to Sparta, then to Persia. He was assassinated on a roadside by Persian agents. 2 of your most famous students, one a traitor, one a tyrant, and everyone in Athens knows it. The 30 begin a reign of terror. They execute, exile, and rob anyone they consider a threat. Around 1,500 Athenians are killed without trial. Property is seized. Families are destroyed. Then they come for you. The 30 summon you to the rotunda with 4 other men. They order you to arrest Leon of Salamis, a respected general. Bring him back for execution. Leon's crime is being rich and democratic. The 30 want his estate, and they want you complicit. The 4 other men go to Salamis. They arrest Leon. He is executed. You go home. This act of refusal could cost you your life. The 30 do not tolerate disobedience. You survive only because the 30 are overthrown before they can deal with you. Democracy is restored in 403 BC. But years earlier, you had already made enemies on the other side too. In 406 BC, you were randomly selected for the ruling council of Athens. On the day you presided over the assembly, the public demanded the illegal mass execution of 6 Athenian generals. Their crime? Failing to rescue drowning sailors after a naval battle. You were the only member of the council who voted against it. The only one. The generals were executed anyway. You defied the democratic mob. You defied the oligarchic tyrants. You are the man who says no to everyone. In a traumatized city, that makes you the most dangerous man alive. 399 BC. You are 69 years old. 3 men bring charges against you. Melodus, a poet. Antis, a politician. Lycon, a public speaker. The charges are 2. Impiety against the gods of Athens, and corrupting the youth. The real charge is unspoken. You taught Critias, you taught Alcibiades. The men who nearly destroyed Athens were your students. But there is an amnesty that forbids prosecution for political crimes during the rule of the 30, so they wrap it in religion instead. You could flee. Many friends have offered to help you escape. Thebes would take you. Other cities would welcome you. You refuse. You have spent your entire life arguing that a person must live by their principles. Running would make everything you ever said a lie. At trial, you stand before a jury of 500 Athenian citizens. You remind them of your military service. Potidaea, Delium, Amphipolis. You stood your ground where other men fled. Then you say something no defendant has ever said before. You tell the jury that the god Apollo gave you a mission to question, to examine, to expose false wisdom wherever you find it. You compare yourself to a gadfly, a tiny biting insect on the back of a large, lazy horse. The horse is Athens. You are the irritation that keeps it away. You tell them, if you kill me, you will not easily find another gadfly, and you will sleep for the rest of your lives. Then you say the line that will echo through the next 2,000 years. The unexamined life is not worth living. The jury votes 280 to 221, guilty. Under Athenian law, the prosecution proposes a penalty. They propose death. You are allowed to counter-propose. Everyone expects exile. Instead, you suggest that Athens should reward you, free meals at the Prytaneum for life, the same honor given to Olympic athletes. The jury is furious. They vote again. This time more jurors vote for death than voted for conviction. You made your own sentence worse, on purpose. Your execution is delayed for 30 days because of a religious festival. Your friend Crito visits you in prison. He begs you to escape. He has bribed the guards. A boat is waiting. You refuse again. The laws of Athens raised you, educated you, protected you. You cannot reject them now just because they ruled against you. Your friends are devastated. They cannot understand why you would choose death over freedom. You understand perfectly. If you run, the questions meant nothing. The entire life meant nothing. On your final day, you bathe yourself, so your friends will not have to clean your body after you die. You say goodbye to Xanthippe and your 3 sons. Your youngest is still a child. You send them away. Then you spend your last hours doing exactly what you have done every day for decades. You talk about philosophy. You discuss the immortality of the soul with your closest friends. You argue that death is not an end. The soul is freed from the prison of the body. A philosopher's entire life is a preparation for this exact moment. Even the prison officer who brings the hemlock is weeping. He calls you the noblest and gentlest man who has ever passed through this cell. You take the cup. You drink. You walk around the cell as instructed. When your legs grow heavy, you lie down. The numbness starts at your feet. It rises through your legs, slowly. Your friends watch in silence. With your last breath, you say 7 words. Crito, we owe a rooster to Asclepius. Do not forget. Asclepius is the god of healing. Greeks sacrifice a rooster to him when they recover from an illness. Your last words are a riddle. Scholars will argue about their meaning for the next 2,500 years. Did you see life itself as the sickness and death as the cure? Or were you simply reminding your friends to pay a debt? Because a good man honors his obligations. Always. Nobody knows. What we know is this. You never wrote a single word. Not one page, not one sentence. Everything the world knows about you comes from your students, Plato, Xenophon, and the comedian Aristophanes who mocked you while you were alive. Plato founded the Academy, the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. He wrote dialogues with you as the main character. Those dialogues became the foundation of Western philosophy. Plato taught Aristotle. Aristotle taught Alexander the Great. Your ideas flowed through their minds and reshaped the entire world. The Stoics claimed you, the Cynics claimed you, the Skeptics claimed you. Every major school of ancient philosophy traced its roots back to a barefoot stonemason's son who asked too many questions. 2,400 years later, every law school and ethics board in the world still uses your method. Ask a question. Listen to the answer. Ask another question. Keep going until the truth has nowhere left to hide. You owned nothing, you wrote nothing, you held no office, you commanded no army, and you changed the way the entire human species thinks. All it cost you was your life.